On that serene Sunday afternoon, the light filtered through the curtains perfectly, casting a gentle glow, while the world outside seemed to linger in a tranquil stillness. Having just completed the task of watering the plants on the windowsill, the resilient ones that have managed to endure my years of neglect, the house resonated with the steady hum of the refrigerator, the sole companion to the sporadic creaks of the aged floorboards beneath my bare feet. As I nestled into my cherished reading chair, its edges slightly worn yet perfectly molded by countless hours of comfort, a sudden knock at the door interrupted the tranquility. A gentle, tentative knock, barely breaking the silence. Surprised by the unexpected visitor, I initially thought it might be a neighbor stopping by, or perhaps a package delivery awaiting my signature. As I swung the door open, there stood Michael, the son of my neighbor. He stood there, clad in a worn hoodie and jeans, a touch restless, clutching a notebook beneath his arm. Our encounters had been few and far between since his return from college for the summer. He was perpetually courteous yet reserved, the sort of boy who averted his gaze and uttered "ma'am," even when instructed otherwise. "Hello, Mrs. Parker," he murmured, his shy brown eyes flickering up to meet mine. A smile graced my lips. "Karen, now that you're 20, perhaps it's time to let go of the missus." That brought a faint smile to his lips, and he gave a slight nod. "Excuse me, Karen, I find myself in need of your assistance with a matter, if you wouldn't mind." I moved to the side, gesturing for him to enter. The aroma of coffee and lavender wafted gently from the surroundings. He paused at the entrance, then crossed the threshold and surveyed his surroundings, as if he were stepping into a gallery of wonders. "I simply didn't wish to trouble my mother. She is currently engaged in her work, and I recalled that you once held the role of a teacher." I guided him into the kitchen, where I filled a glass with chilled iced tea, and then took my seat across from him at the table. He placed his notebook on the table and tapped the cover with a hint of anxiety. "I am enrolled in a summer course focused on English composition, where I am tasked with crafting a personal essay centered around a topic of significance. Yet I find myself at a loss for how to begin. I find myself in a cycle of creation and erasure. I thought perhaps someone with your rich experiences could offer me some valuable insight." That took me by surprise. I never considered myself a source of wisdom for others. In my retirement, I found myself a widow, often engaging in conversations with my plants or exchanging pleasantries with the checkout girl at the market. Yet there was an element in his voice, wavering and genuine, that stirred something within me. It had been ages since I felt truly needed. "Very well," I replied, softly inclining my body forward. "Share with me the words you've crafted up to this point." He opened the notebook, turning the pages filled with strike-throughs and fragmented ideas. Fragments of his father's departure lingered, a sense of never fully measuring up, and a deep-seated fear of revealing his true feelings to anyone. I paid attention, truly paid attention. For a time he simply spoke. The dialogue shifted from his lessons to revelations I never anticipated he would divulge to me. How profoundly alone he had felt since his high school days. He felt an unsettling sense of alienation, as if he were adrift in a world where he didn't truly belong, not even among his friends. As he spoke, I began to observe him with a new perspective, not as the awkward teenager I once waved to from across the fence, but as someone gradually unveiling layers, permitting himself to embrace vulnerability. His voice remained unwavering, yet a subtle tremor danced through his hands as he flipped the page. I extended my hand instinctively, allowing it to rest on his for just a fleeting moment, a sign of solace, perhaps something deeper. He gazed at me, his eyes brimming with a mix of gratitude and bewilderment. In that moment, I became acutely aware of the time that had passed since anyone had gazed at me with such intensity, as if I possessed something within me that was truly valuable and deserving of their attention. More than a mere neighbor, more than an older woman skilled in the art of pie-making or one who kept track of birthdays. She was a person, a soul. The room fell into a hush, enveloped in a gentle stillness. A moment of stillness, where the intake of a single breath has the power to alter the course of everything. I retracted my hand with deliberate slowness, a smile creeping across my face, shattering the stillness that enveloped us. You are not as adrift as you believe, I remarked. You simply have not revealed your truth as of now. He nodded, a hard swallow catching in his throat. Where should I start? It all starts, I declared, in this very moment with a commitment to truth. For the next hour, we immersed ourselves in the art of writing side by side. I shared with him tales from my history, some not so beautiful, yet all undeniably authentic. He absorbed every word, truly absorbing, and I could witness his confidence swell with each sentence he crafted. The assignment had transcended its initial purpose. It delved into a profound essence, an intricate bond beginning to take shape. As he rose to depart, the sun began its descent, draping a warm golden light over the hardwood floor. He glanced back at me as he stood by the door and uttered a heartfelt thank you, Karen. This moment held a significance beyond words, and deep down, I sensed it wouldn't be the last occasion he graced my presence. Not merely for assistance with assignments, but for a purpose that eluded both of our comprehensions at that moment. Perhaps that was perfectly fine, for often the moments that transform us the most arrive without any grand celebration. They arrive with a hushed presence. As the rain fell softly outside, a knock echoed at the door during Michael's next visit. A gentle, persistent rain, the sort that infused the air with the scent of soil and nostalgia. A cinnamon candle flickered to life in the living room, its warm scent enveloping the space, as I diligently folded a basket of laundry. Then came the knock once more, soft and inviting, reminiscent of the previous occasion. Yet, this time I was already aware of who it would be. I swung the door wide, and there he stood. The hoodie snugly enveloped his head, while droplets of rain splattered against his sleeves. He offered me a bashful grin. I apologized for not reaching out beforehand. It's fine, I remarked, moving aside. Your presence is always appreciated. He removed his shoes at the threshold, casting a glance around as though ensuring that nothing had shifted in his absence. There was an inexplicable quality about him that seemed to soothe the very atmosphere surrounding him. Perhaps it was the deliberate grace of his movements, or the way his gaze swept across the room, as if he were absorbing more than just the mere presence of furniture and walls. I brought something, he said, unzipping his backpack. I would like to present to you the essay. He presented me with a printed copy, its edges gently curled from the journey it had endured. As I settled into the embrace of the couch, I opened the pages and lost myself in the world of words. The beauty was undeniable. He captured the essence of our initial conversation about the iced tea, the way I absorbed the stories I recounted. He even spoke of the light streaming through my kitchen window, describing how it enveloped him in a sensation that time had come to a standstill. Yet, what resonated with me the most was the sincerity in his expressions. He expressed a profound sense of being truly acknowledged, genuinely acknowledged for the first time in what felt like ages. As I raised my gaze, I found him observing me intently. His expression was a complex tapestry, woven with threads of hope and worry, leaving it shrouded in mystery. You possess a voice, I remarked, my finger lingering on the page, a genuine one, and it holds significance. He let out a breath, his shoulders easing into a state of calm. A wave of apprehension washed over me as I contemplated submitting it. Uncertainty loomed large, leaving me to wonder if it was perhaps too intimate to share. It is indeed beneficial to embrace the personal, I remarked. It is the essence that ignites passion in people's hearts. He nodded, then settled beside me, drawing nearer than before. Not too near, yet near enough for me to sense the warmth of his shoulder through the gap that lay between us. The candle danced gently on the side table, its flame casting a warm glow. The rain continued to fall outside, its steady rhythm weaving through the silence that enveloped us, unbroken and profound. I'm not entirely certain why, he murmured softly, but there's something about you that makes me feel I can share anything. That resonated profoundly within me. Articulating it is quite a challenge. Yet, as the years pass, there comes a moment when others cease to regard you as a confidant, as if your presence no longer invites their trust. You transform into the sagacious neighbor, the gentle elder, the figure who greets with a wave from the porch. Yet Michael failed to perceive me in that manner. He beheld, myself. A lengthy silence lingered in the air. I extended my hand and softly brushed against his wrist. I'm pleased to hear that you feel this way. Here you are secure. He inclined his head in acknowledgement. Your trust in me is appreciated. His gaze held mine for a heartbeat longer than necessary, and in that fleeting instant, I sensed a change in the air. Not in a perilous manner, not unsuitable, merely a silent understanding, a boundary we had yet to traverse. Perhaps it wasn't necessary, yet its existence was unmistakable. For the next hour, we delved into the complexities of his relationship with his father, who had been absent for months, and how he often felt like a mere specter within the confines of his own home. I revealed additional details about my husband, Gerald, how still our home grew in the wake of his departure, the reverberations of habits now obsolete, the earthiness you adopt in your everyday attire, ensuring that curiosity remains at bay. He remarked, "You are unlike anyone I've ever encountered." I responded, "You're not either." Eventually, he reclined against the couch, and I allowed my head to sink into the cushion as well. We lingered in that moment, side by side, enveloped by the soothing sound of rain. It exuded a sense of tranquility. Feel free to take your time. There's no rush to share your thoughts. There's no requirement for elaboration, only existence. Before he departed, he paused at the threshold and inquired, "Do you find it strange that we converse in this manner?" I gently shook my head. "I believe it's quite uncommon." He offered a smile, but then paused, uncertainty flickering across his face. "May I visit once more? Perhaps we could simply spend some time together, even if I don't require assistance with anything." "Certainly," I replied, "whenever you wish." He lingered for a moment, as if he had more to express, yet the words eluded him. He departed, the rain consuming the echo of his footsteps, as he vanished into the shrouded twilight. I lingered at the threshold, contemplating the transformation that was unfolding before me. In a world brimming with distractions and clamor, could it be that two souls might discover something profound within the silences that lie between them? The answer eludes me still. I was certain this was not the conclusion of the tale. Certainly not. The ensuing days fell into an unforeseen cadence. Michael would drop in every few afternoons, occasionally armed with a notebook, other times simply bringing along that serene presence of his that effortlessly filled the entire space. I accepted it without hesitation. Initially, not at all. It exuded a sense of solace. It's akin to the unexpected thrill of a familiar stomp echoing through the airwaves, a sound you didn't know you craved until it graced your ears. On a Tuesday evening, as I busied myself in the kitchen preparing pot roast, the unmistakable knock echoed through the air. I took my time. I was not obliged to. As I swung the door open, there he stood, hands tucked into his pockets, hair tousled by the gentle breeze, and that familiar softness in his eyes that I had grown to know so well. He appeared older in recent days, exuding a newfound confidence, yet there lingered a trace of youthful doubt in the subtle droop of his shoulders. "It smells delightful," he remarked as he crossed the threshold. "I apologize for intruding upon your dinner." "You did not," I remarked with a smile. "I ended up preparing more than necessary after all." "Remain in your position." He remained silent. We settled into a comfortable cadence, with me at the stove, stirring, while he leaned against the counter, sharing stories about his class, his mother's work pressures, and his own doubts about the future. I listened, contributing whatever insights I could, though I made no claims to possess all the answers. The evening meal unfolded in a serene atmosphere, enveloped in warmth and a sense of ease. He praised my culinary skills, noting that it brought back memories of his grandmother's cooking from his childhood. I chuckled and advised him against showering me with compliments. I was acutely aware that the roast had ventured into the realm of being slightly overdone. Once we completed our task, I brewed some tea, and we settled onto the couch. The hour had grown late, with the gentle murmur of crickets filtering in through the fractured window. The lights were low, and the candle from days past had dwindled to a mere stub, its fragrance faintly hanging in the air. We lingered in quietude for a time, savoring each sip deliberately. Then he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I find myself in a state of uncertainty about the path I am meant to take. There are countless expectations placed upon me, yet I find myself questioning whether those desires align with my own. I shifted my gaze toward him. It's perfectly acceptable to be uncertain. After all, many individuals are merely feigning confidence in their knowledge. He gazed at me, truly gazed. Your words always seem to hit the mark. I offered a soft smile. Ah, my dear, that's simply a matter of age. One begins to understand that many inquiries lack tidy resolutions. He inclined his head and then moved in closer. The faintest touch of his knee grazed against mine, a mere whisper of contact. My heart fluttered, not as it did in the days of youth and folly, but in a manner that served as a poignant reminder of my existence, my vitality, and my enduring capacity to experience something genuine. This is a secret I've kept to myself. He spoke, his voice barely rising above a whisper. Yet, there are moments when I sense that I remain invisible, not truly recognized for my essence, but rather for the expectations others impose upon me. The sincerity in his voice struck me with an intensity one hadn't anticipated. I extended my hand and laid it over his, devoid of romance or calculation, simply an act of humanity. I perceive you, Michael, I murmured gently. He remained close. He remained unyielding. He inhaled with a calm and measured rhythm. Then an event unfolded, neither abrupt nor surprising, simply a part of the natural order. He flipped his hand, intertwining his fingers with mine. Our gazes intertwined. For an extended stretch of time, silence enveloped us, leaving no room for words to break the stillness. In that moment, there existed neither fear nor confusion, only a profound sense of presence. I might have chosen to withdraw. I likely ought to have, yet I chose not to. In that moment, the distinction between right and wrong faded into insignificance. It transcended age, expectations, and the narrative spun by others. It was a journey into the depths of two souls who had discovered an unforeseen connection in the tranquil embrace of one another's presence. He leaned in, his forehead softly brushing against mine. Karen, he murmured, you bring me a sense of safety that allows me to breathe anew. I shut my eyes, allowing the moment to envelop us like a gentle embrace. I'm pleased I expressed that. It's all I've ever desired to offer you. He lingered a bit longer that evening. Our conversations dwindled into silence after that moment. The air was thick with unspoken thoughts, filled only with the gentle symphony of the evening beyond our walls, and the profound intimacy that enveloped us, conveying more than any words could express. As he rose to depart, his farewell lacked the warmth it once held. He simply gazed at me, his eyes radiating warmth, and said, "See you soon." And I was certain he would. For whatever this was, whatever form it had assumed, it was anything but transient. It was evolving into something neither of us had anticipated, yet both of us now held delicately, like a secret too tender to articulate, for the moment. It was a week before our paths crossed once more. Not due to any alterations, but rather because existence tends to flow in subtle, unbroken cycles. I occupied my time with the minutiae, tending to the begonias, folding linens with care, and reorganizing the spice drawer, as if it held significance. Yet, beneath the facade, I discovered myself revisiting that final evening. How his fingers intertwined with mine. The timbre of his voice as he uttered my name lingered in the air. The words held a power beyond mere touch. In those fleeting moments, it was the essence of my feelings that lingered. Vibrant, required observation. As Friday approached its late afternoon, a palpable shift lingered in the air. As I stood outside, shears in hand, meticulously shaping the hedge, the sound of footsteps drew my attention to the gate. I raised my gaze, and there he stood, Michael, with his hands tucked into his pockets. He appeared somewhat uncertain, yet the warmth in his eyes remained unmistakable. He expressed uncertainty about whether I would wish to see him. I cleaned my hands on my apron and offered a smile. "Indeed, I do. Step inside." We lingered on the back porch, the sun descending gracefully, stretching elongated shadows over the lawn. On that particular day, he appeared transformed, subdued, and contemplative. He remarked, I've been reflecting quite a bit on the other night. Who we are. I inclined my head with deliberation. My fingers encircled a glass of water, droplets of condensation sliding down my skin. It's perfectly fine, I murmured softly. No need for explanations. Yet I wish to, he replied hastily. I want this to be a conversation we approach openly and honestly. He halted, gazing at his hands. In your presence, I have rediscovered a sense of self that has eluded me for years. You refrain from making contact with me. You don't regard me as merely a bewildered child. You're not a child anymore, Michael, I murmured softly. He raised his gaze. And you're not merely a neighbor who assisted with homework. I perceive your presence as well. And I have grown to care for you deeply. A slight hitch caught in my breath. His words caught me off guard, delivered with an unexpected clarity. And yet, upon hearing it, I felt neither fear nor hesitation. A sense of tranquility enveloped me. Michael, the bond we share, it's genuine. Yet, it possesses a certain fragility and intricacy. The world might not grasp it. I remain indifferent to the opinions of the world around me. His voice was steady as he spoke. In your presence, a serene tranquility envelopes me, grounding my thoughts and soothing my spirit. A sense of belonging envelopes me. Once more, silence enveloped the space, yet it bore no trace of awkwardness. It was reflective, rooted in reality. I extended my hand and softly grasped his. Not with haste, not through ownership. Yet, there exists a profound respect that comes with understanding. I care about you as well, I replied. Yet, what holds the greatest significance for me is your continuous growth. That you transform into the person you are destined to be. He clasped my hand, his thumb gliding softly over mine. I believe I am beginning to do so. That evening, we remained within the boundaries set before us. It was unnecessary. We lingered side by side as the heavens transformed into hues of pink and gold. As the gentle breeze wafted the fragrance of blooming jasmine. As the porch light danced to life. We engaged in a conversation about his literary pursuits, reminiscing over my past travel narratives. On the peculiar and enchanting ways in which life intertwines the fates of individuals at the most unexpected moments. As the moment arrived for him to depart, he rose slowly, a sense of reluctance enveloping him. I shall return, he declared. A smile graced my lips. I am aware. He strolled along the garden path, glancing back just once, a subtle smile gracing his lips, then vanished into the dusk. I lingered in that moment, the final rays of sunlight slipping away, swallowed by the embrace of the trees. For the first time in what felt like ages, a sense of solitude lifted from my shoulders. For what we had discovered, regardless of the label it bore, was undeniably authentic. Unremarkable, not outrageous, simply human. It served as a poignant reminder that, even after decades of existence, fresh chapters can still unfold. The bond transcends age and defies expectation. It values existence, concerning the art of listening, on the courage it takes to reveal oneself to another and the strength required to truly witness them in return. That is what Michael bestowed upon me. Not a spark, but a gentle flame that whispered to me of the depths of emotion still waiting to be explored.